This is Morten from Inkish. Good morning. We are here on our fourth day, and I am with my good friend Mark Dempsey from HP.
Hello, Morten. Good to see you again.
Good to see you. And Mark, Drupa, you're in the industrial print area,
Sure.
and of course this is not like a typical show for the industrial, let's say, showcasing technology, but you're here.
Yeah.
Why have you chosen to, show the wonderful samples and having good films showing the technology? Why is Drupa a place for you?
Well, firstly, personally, I've missed Drupa. You know, it's been 8 years since we've all been here together, and it's a great opportunity to meet with friends and ex-colleagues and so on. I mean, it's right in saying that Drupa is not necessarily a corrugated show, but believe it or not, we've got nearly 100 visitors coming to visit us over the 2-week period. Some from the US, indeed, you know, and certainly the second week is going to be very, very busy. We've had a couple of great days already, and we've already secured some orders that we're going to be announcing very, very soon. Wow, so it's actually been, you know, quite successful for us so far.
When I was doing a film for you guys in Sutherland Packaging a few months ago, and I was honestly, I was astonished about the size of the machine, the speed of the machine, the quality that came out of the machine. But I was even more astonished how appreciative your customer, when they see and start working with the machine, how productive that machine actually is. So that was, they acquired the first C550 in the US, I believe, right? Yeah. Is that the kind of expectations and also the feedback that you get from the market so far, or?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we're still a relatively small business within the greater HP industrial business, of course. You know, in terms of pre-print and sheet-fed machines, you know, we're the market leaders in water-based inkjet for corrugated. We're somewhere in the regions of 45 machines, so that's web-fed and sheet-fed. But you know, so relatively small business, and you know, we still very much offer that very personable service. So we work very, very closely with our customers. You know, the kind of the market sizing is very different. So our friends in commercial print, we have fewer units, but these are manufacturing businesses that generate a lot of volume.
Plus you can say, sorry to interrupt, but you can also say that this is typically like 24/7 operations, right?
Yeah.
So let's say the productivity, the uptime, also the operational costs are essential parameters when you looked at it, so right?
Morten, that's exactly right. I mean, these guys are not print businesses. You know, I come from a print background. My L&P days, labels, flexible packaging, folding cartons, commercial print. These are manufacturing businesses. You know, print only represents 10% of their end-to-end box production. So you really need to have an understanding of the fact that, you know, workflow is really important, and that whilst print is only a small part of it, if you don't get that right, you break down the whole process. And that's the reason why, you know, we invest a lot in people outside of sales, you know, so support services. You know, we have a role in our business called the account service manager, who works with the new installation for up to 2 years afterwards, making sure that, you know, we're working together on improving OEE. And sometimes that's us as a business, and sometimes it's a customer, but it's a partnership.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess that also shows the serosity from HP Industrial, right? Because I mean, you're not just delivering a box and then leave it to the customers. I guess that one thing is helping the customer, of course, but I guess that it's also essential, since it's a relatively new business area for HP, to get the first-hand feedback from the, let's say, the converter, to understand what are the needs, what should we do the next iteration, how productive our machines. One thing is, you know, engineering and lab tests, but another thing is like real life applications. So is that also how you use that, let's say, being on site for such a long time?
Yeah, I mean, we do. I mean, we work closely with the customers. You know, we don't necessarily have customer advisory panels right now, because we make it much more personable. You know, our manufacturing and R&T teams are constantly visiting the customers in the field. They see what our existing customers are doing, but then they go and visit some of our potential prospects, and they understand what the needs are for us to grow as well.
One of the things I liked about Sutherland, and maybe that is something you see with other customers as well, that is that even if you buy the machine for making corrugated boxes, it can easily be turned into doing other kind of applications, like they do like signage, and they do like, you know, point of sales displays and these kind of products. Is that also something that you see that this technology open up for, let's say, new business applications for your customers?
Yeah, I mean, we've got two different profiles of customers pretty much. So Sutherland is typically a company that it's a packaging business that do some POS for sure. Yeah. So freestanding display units, shelf ready packaging, those items. And then we have some really dedicated corrugated box producers. So like a big company, a big group in the US called Hood Group, for instance, who are dedicated to boxes. So, you know, we have a real mix. Our growth, in all honesty, is really going to be in what you see here, which is boxes.
Yeah,
it's a huge market.
And when we see the boxes, I mean, if I didn't know better and just pass by, I would just say there's some boxes. I would not think whether it's made in Flexo or Offset or Digital. I guess that is also part of the sales pitch, right? That you can do something that basically adapts to the customer needs without even speculating on what technology is produced at.
Yeah. You know, we set our stall very high to start with. You know, we wanted to enter into the high graphics market. So these boxes that you typically see here are what we would call high graphics.
Yeah.
It represents about 1/4 of the overall box market.
But it's a big market.
But it's a big market, $75 billion revenue potential market.
Just in that 1.5%?
Just in the high graphics, in the 25%, yeah.
Whoa. I mean, that is...
It's a $300 billion market, boxes. The majority, to be fair, are typically brown boxes with lower coverage.
And when you have a box like this and you mention low coverage, I guess that is, of course, that people are, I guess, still thinking about the, let's say, the operational cost compared to analog world, right? Are we getting there, or?
Yeah, well, I mean, the trend, excuse me, the trend certainly is towards higher graphics because people are now using the box as part of the marketing campaign.
Yeah, so it becomes a communication tool as well.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
No, it's all part of the brand. It's part of the imagery that the brand's trying to portray. In fact, we've seen recently that in some of the e-commerce boxes that you have delivered to your door, they're not now delivered in a secondary brown box. They come in the original box with a label over the top. So they're actually using the original branded box as the shipper. And what this means is obviously you know, less packaging, less waste, better sustainability. So they're now, you know, our customers are redesigning the high graphic box to meet with the needs of delivery and logistics.
And that is of course super when you sell machines for corrugated, right? Yeah. One thing, of course, I have to ask you, and that is like, I mean, the digital transformation takes place in all segments of the industry. We spoke about in our online interview, we spoke a little bit about the timing for doing that, because I mean, labels are already very, very adapted to the digital. Commercial print is getting there, but because the volume is so vast and so diverse, it maybe takes a little bit of time as well to get there. Why is the corrugated a market that is interesting? Because I think that you also tried it with HP for folding carton, and the digital transformation adaptation in the folding carton seems to be slower than in corrugated. Is that just me, or?
No, I mean, I think that's a fair statement. I mean, let me say that first, fibre-based packaging, whether it's cartons or corrugated boxes, is super interesting to HP. We're fully committed to this and we want to grow this area of the business because of the market opportunities we've just said. If I talk specifically about corrugated boxes, there was a spike in demand during the pandemic and shortly afterwards. And that's kind of dropped a little bit. And that means the adoption rate of digital printing within the packaging community has been a bit slower than we would like, of course. But that will come back again because life is...
So it's just a matter of time, basically.
It's just a matter of time, yeah. In terms of economics, the value proposition in the technology that we have here, it's water-based inkjet, is very, very strong, particularly, incidentally, against offset litho lamination. You know, our print quality...
Fewer processes, and therefore you cannot just say one-to-one print, because there's process if you say that you have to laminate a piece of paper to a box. Basically, there's more processes to it, right?
In litho lamination, you've got litho printing, you've got lamination, so you've got two processes, two sets of waste, two sets of operators, two sets of time. Everything's got to be coordinated. You know, your finishing is always going to run slower than your printing. You know, so it's a real kind of cumbersome thing to do. Direct to board, very, very simple, very, very easy, and the quality allows you to do that. We are delivering offset-like quality.
Definitely. That's great. Mark, I can't help thinking about just on the, let's say, last few questions here. When you go on a show like Drupa, as you mentioned, this is maybe not like a typical corrugated show, but I have seen, let's say, quite a few vendors either showcasing or having videos or even on stand having technology for printing on corrugated. So it seems like a market that is also getting a little bit competitive, and of course with the size of HP, I guess that you have a lot of advantages. But how I mean, and I do understand that most vendors like competition because it gives you opportunity to, you know, really fight and develop technology. But I mean, on a, let's say, much more lower level, competition is also something that, of course, is convincing people about the right decisions, right?
There's a lot of intelligent competitors out there, and they all read the market in the same way that we do. You know, this is a huge opportunity. So it doesn't surprise me that other big brands in our industry are announcing developments in this market. What I would go on to say is that we've been doing this now for 10 years, and along the way we've learned a lot, we've improved a lot, we've adjusted. Again, I'll just remind you that this is not print, it's manufacturing. And I think when you have to pivot, you know, in mindset, it takes time. We are there now, we're established. One thing I would say is, look, we've got something today that our customers can make money from today. And you and I always talk about future technologies, and everyone's really attracted by what's coming in 5 years' time. But we got to eat today, yeah?
But I do actually try to have a conversation about today, because the people that are investing in, for example, the C550 now, right? They have to have something that meets the demand for making money today. So when I try to ask questions about that, is basically with the respect of making the right choices so you can make money today, right? And I guess that Sutherland was a brilliant example of it, because I mean, when I spoke to even the young management that is taking over the, let's say, the business, right? It is interesting to see that the mindset of how digital can even take a brown box converter into, as you say, the fully decorated boxes, high value boxes, is super interesting, right? And that must be, I'm just saying, that must be a journey that you are also on a personal level must find interesting, right?
Yeah, and Morten, just to finish, I mean, it's not just our technology that drives change in this market. You know, you've got all of these kind of things going on outside of our immediate world that are driving that change. You know, people are becoming younger. They do things in a different way. You know, they're digitizing in a different way. So all of those kind of older generations that are working in the packaging community today will be superseded by Generation 2, Generation 3, and they will want to do things in a different way.
That's true. Well, a lot of meeting ahead of you, and maybe some sales, who knows?
1 or 2, yeah, and hopefully we'll announce it soon.
Good to see you. Thank you.
Thanks, Morten. Thank you.